How's it going, Internet? It's been a hot minute. I've been busy with family and work on the basement, which is nearing completion. Um, Aside from that, while working, messing around with some other stuff, I kind of came up with an idea for an application. Now, I don't do app development. I can come up with ideas for an application, what it can do, um, and that's about it. I can go through and create like little scripts and macros to make my life and my job a little bit easier. That said, bear with me. Imagine you play either on console or desktop. And on a side, you like to dabble in wagers or you want to compete in something like the World Series of Warzone. But we all know it's going to be plagued with cheaters. Money is on the line. That being said, let's say you have the ability to pay for a third-party app. Now, I know what you're thinking. Not an app that goes through and does an anti-cheat, and not an application that goes through and cheats for you. But you can't run it on your local machine. Again, if you're on console, obviously you can't run these apps in the background unless you go through and you pay somebody to make you an actual cheat. But that's not what this is. So you go through and you get this application. It runs on a second device. That second device, all it does is it runs a packet capture. A little command style or Visual Basic style window pops up, however you design it. And all it does is it captures packets in the background and it runs a couple of small math equations. And let's say while you're playing, all of a sudden it pops up and it shows a player name and says aimbot detection and use because it meets the parameters of the math equation. All right, so you go through, you finish your game out. As soon as you finish your game out, it knows that there's no other players visible. It's not no longer receiving data. It ends that capture file for that packet capture and just creates a new file for the next game as soon as it starts. And at the end of it, it tags it with 0, 1 for, let's say, the number of cheaters that were found in that match. So let's go back to that data. So again, if you're playing on console, you could have like a laptop or something sniffing the network running this application. So the first part of the application, it doesn't tell you where the players are. It's not a cheat. It just scans all the background data and a PCAP. It collects all of it and bottles it into a PCAP file that can later be replayed. So while it's going and doing this, let's say you're playing on console and it says, hey, there's, somebody's aim matched a certain math algorithm. They're using an aimbot. So it flags the file and everything else and saves it. So they get done with their match. Let's say they're done for the night. They can go back. They can look at that file and take that file and run it through a playback system. So the playback system would just basically be, it'll allow you to view the game from any player that was in that match. And if it found a cheater in that match, it would go through and allow you to view from that cheater's point of view. And it would allow you to see what they were seeing from the aimbot's point of view. The reason why this app would be a good idea for somebody to develop and I would say sell for like $5 a month or something. The reason why this would be such a good idea is because anybody doing wagers, somebody that's trying to, hey, if they're risking 20 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever for a match, and they want to know the person they're playing against isn't cheating, and that they're relatively good, an average player or better, well, how do they know they're not just forking their money over to somebody's cheating? So if they pay $5 a month as an insurance to ensure that the person they're playing isn't cheating, then I don't see why they wouldn't do it, especially if they can make 100, 500 bucks a month playing wagers against somebody they know is not cheating. And if they are cheating, they could take this data that they captured, run it through the replay system, and then present it to the admins or the wager admins or refs and say, hey, this is what I was up against. I'm not paying them out on this. That's 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever it is. I'm keeping that. And here's my proof why. You should null and void this and make sure that no parties pay out. Or they should default and say, okay, yeah, that looks like an aimbot. You showed us your proof. we're going to go ahead and side with you. And now they owe you 20 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever it was. The other reason why this is good, not just from a wager standpoint, but let's say streamers. Streamers are constantly doing stuff. Now, as soon as they get somebody who's observing them, they're gonna kind of lay off a bit, because they don't know if somebody like Grandpa Hacks is watching them. So if they don't know if somebody like Grandpa Hacks is watching them, and they don't see any observers, they're going to keep their behavior going. Meanwhile, they don't know it. Somebody else is running a packet capture in the background to be later replayed in a replay system. And if it shows that that particular streamer popped up as their aim matching a certain algorithm, math algorithm, the person who's doing the PCAP could sit there and take that file, turn around, and put it into the replay system, which can be used as an overlay. So they take that PCAP file that can be used as an overlay, they go back to that streamer's stream for the day, they crop that specific match that they were in with you at that point in time, and they can go look at some of the players that they killed and everything and see if the names match in the PCAP file. So they observe from that cheater's point of view, they overlay on top of the streamer's gameplay, and now you have all the stick figures, you have all the background data, all the players' locations, everything. And you filter it to 50, 100 meters, whatever, and you overlay that on top of the streamer's gameplay, and you can see real time the actual aimbot in use. You can see exactly where the stick figures are from the files you captured, and you can see it from that streamer's point of view because you're all getting the same information, the same background data. So then you can see the exact moment that the aimbot was in use and the math algorithm matched. And then you can sit there and say, hey, here's proof positive that this streamer is cheating. Here's proof positive that, this individual isn't legit. And again, from a financial point of view, that $5 insurance a month or $10, whatever it would be for the person who develops this, is they could turn around and continue investing that money in development and work it for other FPS titles. Let's say CSGO, they could do it for Fortnite, and then the other one. And just basically all it's doing is a PCAP containing all that information, and it's doing a math algorithm. Now, the math algorithm. Well, how are you going to tell? So somebody basically has to do a PCAP, go through and actually use the aimbots, and sit there and see exactly what points the aimbot attaches in front of, behind, on, where at on, for what duration, toggling it to make sure to see the shortest amount of time that it will lock and unlock from a player. And they take that information and they formulate a math equation that shows the shortest amount of time the aimbot will lock onto a player within the game, where it connects to. Let's say it jumps around from arm to leg to chest to waist, whatever, to try and blend in with the weapon recoil, but it kind of skips around. It doesn't look natural. So you take that information from the background data, you formulate a math equation, and then you plug it into it. You could probably come close to actually having the PCAP application identify the actual aimbot in use if you formulate a math equation for each individual aimbot application out there. That being said, who would have the incentive as a streamer, knowing that somebody could be playing in your match, running a packet capture that could later replay this over your gameplay, and they don't even have to observe you ever? And then they turn around and you see somebody like Call of Shame, Bad Boy Beeman, or any of these other Hacker Hunter streamers sitting there replaying an overlay on top of their stream that shows that, yes, they were cheating, and it can actually identify the actual cheat in use. You're going to take a lot of streamers out real quick. Aside from that, when it comes to any type of tournament, something like that, you can show the admins, have them kicked out. So any potential financial earnings going forward that these streamers who do cheat do, they can either be kicked from the tournament, they could lose their sponsorships. Anybody who does adverts with them is going to be like, no, I've seen the proof positive that you're cheating. They're not going to want to touch them anymore. And from there, they're going to be forced to play legit. And once they're forced to play legit, guess what? They're going to look like the average Joe. So that's it from this video. and hopefully in the future I can get some more content out to you guys. Again, just whenever I can. I'm not like on a schedule or anything. I'm actually supposed to be working right now. I'm waiting for a server to finish up on something. So, all right, that's going to be it for now. Have a great weekend. Deuces.